What's up guys? Today we're talking about how you can get a scholarship to play football at a college. What you need to do to go through that process to have the best odds of actually getting a scholarship. There's a lot to it, it's very difficult, so I'm going to try to go over everything that I know of to help you get that scholarship. The first thing that I want to mention is you can't procrastinate. What kills a lot of people is they don't put their effort in early enough. Colleges start recruiting really young. You want to start this process of trying to develop yourself and become appealing to these colleges before high school. The younger, the better. You want these scouts to see you as early on as possible. You have to think of yourself as an item that you're trying to sell. That'll help put you in a better mindset and a better position to position yourself and your skills to be attractive to these colleges. It's imperative that you get in front of the scouts. A couple ways to do that are, one, to make sure that you're at a really good school. And if you're a kid, you might not have much control over what school you go to, but I would even go to extreme measures of legally changing your home address so that maybe you're in a better district, drive a little bit further, go to a better school, do whatever you have to do to get at a school that has a better football program and that'll put you in a better position. The next thing is get around really good athletes. Whether it's just training, playing in games, doing whatever you have to do to get on film or in front of a recruiter where you're competing with top athletes that are getting watched. If you know that you're gonna be playing a high school that has a player that's highly recruited, you really need to be on your best performance during that game. Put as much emphasis as you can into getting noticed during that game. Not that you shouldn't always be, but really put that emphasis in when you know you're going up against a team where there are probably college scouts watching the game. Another thing is make sure you're easy to find. If a coach is watching a game and they're looking at one player's highlights or something, and they happen to notice you in that play somewhere in there, they need to be able to easily look you up, look up your school, look up your number, look up everything, and find you. You want to make that easy. What that means is when you're uploading your videos, your highlights, things like that, make sure in the tags, in the description, everywhere, put your school name, put your jersey number, and put your name and position. Things like that make you easier to find. So really put in the emphasis on trying to sell yourself, make yourself easily accessible. Next, make sure you have really high quality video footage. You need good highlights. If your school does not do a good job at recording, you need to talk to them about getting a better camera, or maybe you need to buy one yourself and find someone to videotape the games. Maybe you can go in on a good camera with a couple other players. Maybe there's someone else on your team that will split the bill with you and you can find a mom, a relative, somebody to film your games. I'll show a link right here for a really good Canon camcorder. It's only $400, which is actually pretty cheap for a good camera like that. And something I'll mention about this specific camera, if you go with this one, is it has an internal memory. You can record it internally on the camera's hard drive, I guess, or you can put in SD cards. Make sure you put in SD cards, and the reason is you might not be capable of doing a good editing job when you try to make your own highlights. You might need to give your footage to somebody else to put it together for you. So that's gonna be much easier if you have the film on an SD card. The next thing is make sure whoever's filming the game doesn't just show up to game day and film. Make sure they really get good with the camera, make sure they know what they're doing, they've had plenty of practice, and there's no room for error. Because if you have an unbelievable play, you need that on film. You can't afford for the battery to have died, or they ran out of memory on the SD card. So figure out your equipment, know what you're doing, and go into every game with a game plan to get the best footage that you can. And once you have that video, see if you can get any other good video outside of just game film. If you've got a really good vertical jump, film it. Make sure you did it right, make sure the video looks clean, it's easy to see, because these coaches get tons of film and these recruiters look at tons of film. So you need to make it within the first 5 to 10 seconds, they go, wow, oh my gosh, that guy's kind of exceptional. That's impressive. You've got to impress them immediately. Don't have long intros, don't do anything like that, get them hooked like that. Remember, you're selling yourself. Use clickbait if you have to. Not if you have to, use clickbait. And what I mean is have a really good thumbnail in the video, use a title that's like unbelievable high school player, or incredible catch, or top recruit in the nation, something like that. Use clickbait that gets people to look at your videos. Don't make it so bad that when people click on it, they're like, oh, that had nothing to do with the video, and they thumbs it down. You don't want that. But be creative, try to get your videos seen, and if you do a really good video, if you can squat something crazy, do a crazy 40-yard dash, if you can get really good catches, or whatever your position is on a highlight, do short little clips. put them on Facebook, put them on YouTube, put them everywhere you can and try to get them shared, get the exposure that you need, and just do the best job you can to market yourself. The next thing is, if you are unable to edit your own videos, which you very likely will be, a lot of editing softwares are pretty expensive. The one I use is Final Cut Pro 10. It's a really good program, but it's like $300 just for the software to edit the videos. So if you can't afford good software, don't have the right computer for it, or you just can't learn it that fast because it's not easy, find someone that can do it. Go on Craigslist, look for a videographer, be like, look, I've got all the film, I know what I want it to look like, tell them what you want it to look like, and have them do it for you. It doesn't take that long to do if you know what you're doing, and you'll save a lot of money that way. So find someone to put it together for you, assuming that your school won't do it for you anyway. But even if your school will do it, take the footage that they have and then try to find any supplemental film that you can of, like I mentioned before, combine drills, stuff like that. Anything extra that will help sell you and help separate you from the rest of the guys that you're competing with. The next thing that I'm going to mention is find athletes that are like you. Obviously, you need to know your position, but also know your body type. Not all receivers are created the same. Not everyone plays the same position the same way. So find people that have your play style, that are on the top of their game, and study them, study how they train, and put a lot of emphasis on the things that coaches look for, like your 40-yard dash time. That's huge in recruiting for some reason. Foot speed, you need to have good footwork. If you're not doing footwork, you're definitely skipping a vital part of your training. You've got to have fast feet. And going back to potentially changing the school that you're going to, one trick that you can do is look at a football team's roster and you'll see what high school they came from. You'll notice a lot of teams that have a lot of their players coming from one specific high school. If that's a team that you're interested in playing for, you might want to do whatever you can to make sure that you go to that high school, because you'll know for sure that they have recruiters and scouts going to those games, and that'll definitely give you your best odds of getting recruited by that specific school. And once you have a list of schools and coaches that you want to play for, start trying to contact them as early as possible. As soon as you're even 14, 13, 15, start talking to them, ask them what they want out of you, what the best practices you could be doing are to get recruited and get a scholarship from them. And always kind of have a backup plan. Even if you're trying to play for a big D1 school, have a couple really good Division II schools that you would be interested in playing for, just in case they don't work out, and try to build some rapport and some kind of relationship with those coaches also, just as a backup. The next thing I'll mention is it's really good to go to combines. If you can go to the Nike Combine, I think Under Armour has a combine. There's a lot of high school combines. Go to those. By going to those, you'll get your numbers officially checked, written down. There'll be scouts there, and it'll really help put you out there and get you a lot of exposure that you might not get from your high school. And with regards to training, make sure that you're doing all the little things that other people aren't doing, because you're competing with hundreds of thousands of people that want to play on a D1 level. So you need to make sure you're doing the little things right. Make sure you're flexible enough. You might want to go to a physical therapist and have a functional movement screen done on you to see if you have any weak points, to see if there's anything that you can fix with regards to your flexibility and just movement quality. If you're going to play on a high level, you have to be very flexible and you have to move well. You have to have loose hips. It's a lot of little details like that. It's not as straightforward as you might think when you're in high school and competing against other kind of mediocre players. So make sure that you're paying attention to all the little things and doing everything you can to differentiate yourself. If you're dead set on playing for a specific school and you don't get any kind of offers by the coaches, you always have the option to walk on. So I would definitely recommend that if you really want to play for a specific school and you don't get a scholarship offer, especially if you have some interest. If the coaches are sort of interested in you but never gave you an offer, that's almost a guarantee that you can at least walk on the team, and then maybe you didn't get on because you just didn't have great film or something like that. Once you're on the team as a walk-on, you have a chance to really prove yourself, move up, and earn a scholarship. And the last thing that I'm going to mention is eligibility. Make sure you go through all the proper steps to become eligible. A lot of people let their grades slip. That's a huge one, where people just don't have the grades or maybe didn't take all the right courses to become a qualifier with the NCAA. So make sure you register with the NCAA as early as possible. Find out what you have to do to be a qualifier before you get to college. And by doing that, you'll eliminate a lot of the stumbling blocks that people run into when they're trying to get on a college team. So just in a quick recap, make sure you got good film, make sure you're eligible, contact as many coaches as you can, have a backup plan for like a Division II school or something like that, and really try to sell yourself. Put yourself out there, register with every online recruiting website that you can possibly get on, get your combine numbers, your height, your weight, all your information out there so that coaches can easily find you, and make sure you're being proactive in contacting them. So that's all I have for you today on earning a college scholarship. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, you can always ask them down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, specifically videos on how to train and how to get in the best shape you can to earn that scholarship, make sure you subscribe to the channel and we'll have more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching.